We live in a culture that celebrates activity, moving faster, doing more, staying busy. But Jesus calls us to do something completely different. Abide. Not visit, not check in, not squeeze him into our schedule. Let me see if I can get you 30 minutes tomorrow morning at between 9 and 9:30. He wants to abide. And John 15 is clear. Apart from me, you can do nothing. Not something, not a little, nothing. So guys, good morning. This is Rod with Jesus in Silver. Today, we're going to be talking about abiding and staying with Jesus, not just the visit. So please like, share, subscribe if you haven't done so already, but let's get into it. So what is abiding? Abiding is it's a lifestyle. It's not a movement. It's not a spiritual pit stop. It's a dwelling place where we have to stay. It's choosing to stay close and connected with constant awareness to Christ. And just like a branch that can't produce fruit unless it stays attached to the vine, you and I can't produce our spiritual fruit if we're not attached to Him. And once again, it's not a drive-by. It's not occasionally. It's not just emotionally. It's continually. And so we'll go back to Mary and Martha. Martha was good at doing good things. She was serving, she was preparing, she was working. But Mary chose the best thing. She sat at Jesus' feet. Not because she was lazy, because she understood something Martha didn't. That presence is greater than productivity. And we often treat our time with God like a task to check the box. We always love to check the boxes. Did I make my phone call today? Did I send that nice thank you note? Did I check all the boxes? But we often treat our time with God just like that. Abiding is different. It's not a task. It's not a checklist. It's actually the source of living, the source of life. So why do we struggle with that so much? I mean, let's be honest. We're more comfortable doing an activity for God than we are actually being with God. I mean, we can go to church, check. I'm going to dress nice for church, check. I'm going to sing my best voice today, check. I'm going to read my verse this morning, check. But why do we do this? Because our busyness lets us feel productive. I mean, it's what we're taught about life. Noise feels normal. We don't like to hear that silence in our own head and have our own thoughts start thinking. And stillness can be uncomfortable. But we have to remember that fruit doesn't grow in a hurry. And roots won't deepen in chaos of all the weeds choking it out. And strength doesn't come from motion. It comes from connection. And abiding is the discipline of slowing down long enough for God to shape you. So when you abide, you become a little more steady in the storms. You're not going to overreact. You're going to be able to handle that chaos a little bit better. You become more rooted when life shakes. And trust me, I'm 53 years old. It's going to shake. And it's going to be more fruitful without having to actually striving to be fruitful. You know, I spent a lot of my life striving to be the best at whatever it was I was doing from a work perspective, to get more money, to get more power, to get whatever. I strived real hard for those things. But when I actually kind of stopped striving and let God just kind of take my life over, things went a lot better for me. And you're going to feel more refreshed instead of being so drained. And you're going to feel guided because he's the one guiding you instead of guessing. And this abiding is where he prunes us. He's trimming off all the branches that aren't producing the fruit. But that also is where clarity can come into play and our transformation begins. And you don't get that from a quick visit. You get there from staying. You don't get that from checking the box. So how do I put that into action? So today, I know we want to be able to block things off on our calendar, but block 30 minutes for today and sit in silence. And then read John 15 slowly with no agenda. Just sit there and be with God and let him speak. Let him settle you. Let him feel you. Then write down 3 places where you feel distant, where you feel distracted, and ask God to draw you closer in those specific areas. Because part of this abiding starts with awareness. So in closing, don't just drive by. Jesus isn't the pit stop. Don't just visit when life gets hard. Don't treat him and his presence like a hotel room you're checking in and out of. Don't make him a checklist. Make him your home. Make him your source, your center. And then abide, stay, and remain. Because fruit doesn't come from activity. It comes from a relationship with God. Once again, this is Rod with Jesus in Silver. Thank you for listening. Please like, share, and subscribe so more people can hear the words of Jesus and some of the Silver content and other things I do as well. Thanks for listening. Have a great rest of your day.